2014 Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Round 16 Curious vs. RorO.
Okay.
All right.
Here we are.
Cross
RorO,
spawns.
top left. Yeah. Bottom right for Curious.
And we could see like a very similar game we saw in for game 1. Just Roach Max versus Roach Max.
I would be kind of surprised if they didn't go Roaches. Like, of course, you could go try for Mutas or something like that, but the difference is that this map is so much bigger that I think you don't just stay on Roaches.
I feel like this map is just not so good for Mutas in general because when you go Mutas, you usually have to have a lot of Zerlings and try to force your opponent's third base down, but it's so far away on this map, especially across spawns.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, about the initial denial of the third.
Yeah, just trying to get those advantages out with your Mutas. You can kill a lot of Overlords on this map, though, if they're sending too many across to scout.
I gotta say, I like Mutas on any big map, personally. And I like Zerglings on a big map as well, just for their speed overall, but it is pretty far, and if you don't deny thirds, it can be pretty tough. One thing I'm thinking, though, is that we'll probably see Roaches out of RorO pretty much no matter what. But I think this game, if they do both go Roaches, we're definitely at least going to see Hydras mixed in. Just because of that map distance, it's going to be much easier to switch attack and get a little bit more.
Yeah, Hot 6 is great, by the way.
Do you like Hot 6 or Hot 6 Light?
Hot 6 Light, actually.
Yeah.
I like the taste more, actually. And you know, just the idea that it has less things that might be bad for me in it. There's a few things I like light. I don't know why I drank it a lot as a kid, but like Diet Dr. Pepper, I just got a taste for it because my parents would always drink Diet Dr. Pepper instead of regular Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Reduced fat Cheez-Its, they taste crispier.
And they aren't as greasy.
Yeah,
which really helps.
They don't get all over your fingers, so it's a great gaming snack. Unlike Doritos, for example.
Oh God, yeah, no,
or
you
Cheetos
you can't touch those while gaming.
But if you have Cheez-Its, like they don't get on your reduced fat ones. They don't get on your fingers, so you can actually just pick up back the controller, get on your keyboard after you take a handful of those.
I agree with you completely on that. The reduced fat Cheez-Its for the win.
Used to like white cheddar ones, but those were so messy, man.
They are messy, but they were when they first came out. I was really excited about them.
Me too. They were really good.
Like, every kid loves Cheez-Its.
Everybody loves Cheez-Its, man. Cheese Nips, not so much, but like Cheez-Its.
Well, Cheese Nips, it's like...
Cheese Nips failed, man. I don't even know if they sell those anymore.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Don't buy them.
All the sad children eat those.
I wish my mom bought Cheez-Its.
It's like Tastios.
Or like the grocery store's brand of Pop-Tarts instead of Pop-Tarts. Like, you're like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well... Pop-Tarts. I never really had those much as a kid, but every now and then I
didn't really
Tastios,
either.
Which was the grocery store brand of Cheerios.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when you know you've hit rock bottom, Tastios. That's like...
Zerling's going to come over here and try to scout, but yeah, I'm trying to think of like... So, do they have like Kroger where you're from actually? Or
no, they don't.
What grocery stores did you have?
Shaw's.
Shaw's, okay, I don't have that in the South.
And, well, we had the local ones in my town that everyone went to, but Shaw's was like the name brand one that was in my town that not as many people went to.
There was Kroger was one of the stores I went to, and they had this like whole line of Cokes and Dr. Peppers and stuff, and they just all named them after K, like Dr. K, and like Mr. K was like Mr. Pibb knockoff. That was like...
Have you ever seen the Walmart ones, the Sam's Choice ones?
Oh, yeah.
Like Mountain Lightning?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that
or
was
like
sadness in a can.
Dr. Thunder.
Oh, God. Don't even. This is hurting me.
Right. Fast third here for RorO, actually. Eking that out here pretty quick.
Yeah, quite a fast one.
Not a bad choice for the map.
I love how these queens are just hunting right now. They are
gonna
so
get it,
hungry for Overlord blood.
Oh, they turn around. Get back to work.
Well, how far are you really going to send your queens out?
Well, about that far, I guess.
Yeah, exactly that far, and then they're going home.
They're like, I'm not walking up this ramp. That's too steep, and I'm off creep.
Anytime I see queens out that far, I would get suspicious. Just like, what's going on here? Why are you going that far? Now, it's not as suspicious as when they go way far out in the front, because that's the attack path, right?
Yeah.
So not quite as suspicious. By the way, I really like how he walked a few extra steps before shooting.
Yeah, that way
if you shoot at the maximum length, it's like really annoying to kill the Overlord.
And if you shoot at maximum length, you might not even get it. The Overlord's going to start moving automatically. But he denies vision of this hatch with this, but I think RorO's, he knows, obviously, this is pretty likely, so he's making the launch of the Zerglings right now to try to go over there and pressure, and also defend his own third base.
Yeah, both players making a ton of Zerglings, and speed is going to finish about the same time, so neither of them are actually going to be able to do any damage with these, I suspect.
Yeah.
Unless they pass each other like ships in the night, I don't think it's going to happen. But Curious has made a situation where that's a possibility because he's chased off enough Overlords.
That's true. The hatchery being up much faster for RorO is nice. He gets a lot of extra larvae from that, but he's not actually mining from it right now. He's staying extremely drunk. It's almost like he's trying to like hit a Zergling time. They're both just like too scared to make roaches because they both know there's so many Zerglings on the map. A small amount of roaches is not going to be the answer.
Well, the map is so big to try to walk roaches across and actually do damage could be seen as almost arrogant.
He could actually engulf this group of Zerglings and kill it. Curious has to go back and run away and get the rest of his Zerglings linked up with these.
But overall, they have almost exactly the same amount of Zerglings, and with these Queens mixed in, no way that RorO's going to want to actually take a fight unless he gets surface
area
area
like
like
that. If he can get the Queens, yeah, that would be good. He actually transfuses
but,
here.
He's got to run. He has to run. This is actually going a little bit over. You know, when he's attacking Queens for that long, just overall the damage output from the Zerglings of Curious is definitely going to win out.
Yeah, look at the army supply right now. He also made a ton of drones behind this. That's why he's at 59 to 45.
Really nice.
I mean, it works out for him because the map is so big that it's hard for Curious to say, wow, I killed a lot of your Zerglings, now I'll punish you, because he has to walk all the way across the map.
That's right, and both of them making a lot of roaches right now. But, you know, we do have that bigger drone count, that quicker drone count, and that quicker third base for RorO. So it feels like he's going to be able to easily keep up in those roaches, even though his upgrades may be just slightly slower.
Yeah. He's pretty significantly behind on that Carapace upgrade, but it's not going to matter too much. Again, on a map that's this big, the time to walk across the map might actually just close that gap anyways.
Yeah, and again, the armor upgrade, while important, isn't as important as attack upgrades. It's much more important that you stay on attack upgrade parity than getting that armor.
Denies a tumor. Those two Zerglings are up to no good.
Yeah. Trying to make trouble in RorO's neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're up to no good.
That's what happens when you're up to no good, especially for Will Smith. But
All right, so you know the one really nice thing about all these creep tumors is he gets a lot of vision of incoming attacks and he can get into position.
yeah,
Both of them kind of just fanning out in front. That's allowing them to guard their third bases. And you know we might even see fourths taken here. It's kind of this situation where, you know, I keep saying it. I've said it so many times so far in the series about how, and I always say it a lot in ZVZ because it's something very important to keep in mind. When you're attacking roach on roach, your opponent's rally is much closer, so they're going to have the reinforcements there faster.
so it's hard to commit to an attack unless you've got a massive advantage.
And and especially on this map because it's so big. Your roaches take even longer to get there.
It's similar in a lot of ways to how late game Protoss versus Protoss gets, but the difference is in Protoss versus Protoss, when you're maxed out, your composition has so many different types of units, and you can assess what timings are appropriate based on your opponent's Colossus count or Archon count or Zealots.
Absolutely true.
Whereas in this case, it's basically a one unit comp until Hydras get made, so it's a lot tougher to actually commit to an attack.
And Zerg doesn't have time warp, so they can't just completely destroy their opponent with one spell.
The only thing that they can do is, you know, get infestors out, which is very expensive, and oftentimes you try to make an infestor tech switch, you'll die to your opponent if he realizes it.
That's very true, and I would say that Curious is the more likely player to go for that. But we have seen RorO go for it in the past. Thing is, he got some lessons taught to him by various Zergs when doing so. Who was it? Symbol, I believe, was so good at not ever making infestors and killing people.
Yeah.
He's like, well, now I have more units. What's up?
Yeah, I think like there was a time in ZVZ where a lot of people were just going for as fast as possible infestors, you know, taking that greedy build. And because it was more normal to do so, they would both kind of take it at the same time.
Yeah.
But that was like in 2012, I would say that was kind of happening a lot. But nowadays it's basically just pure roach versus pure roach because even adding in Hydras, they don't have enough hit points and they're very expensive. So,
well, here we go. It looks like RorO is pushing to the ends of his creep, but we do have some burrow movement. Roaches making their way around the map from Curious, trying to get some harassment going. Yeah,
and go up here on the high ground. Unfortunately for him, though, there's a ton of creep up there, very intelligently placed, so he's going to be able to easily go over there and deny that. I don't think he has an Overseer, though, so he's not going to see this until they pop up and start doing damage.
Thing is, yeah, this could be a nice little harassment. You know, pick off a few drones, run away, and you know that his roaches are on the way, at least some of them.
Yeah. This is
look,
pretty nice done.
yeah,
he just ignores the
he's-
spine crawler. And
He's killing quite a few. In fact, he's just going to sacrifice these roaches.
it's kind of funny that he didn't do this from the high ground. He actually just did it on the low ground.
Yeah, I think you just want to get as many drones as possible. If you do it from the high ground, you deny more mining and you stay alive longer, but overall you won't end up killing quite as many roaches because you're not hitting as many patches.
Yeah, true. And well, both of them have started the Infestor upgrade, the Pathogen Glands, at basically the exact same time, funnily
Yeah.
enough. And this match is just going to be like this for a little while.
Well, it's such a funny thing because Curious is staying on a defensive posture but sending harassment groups around. So he's going to go ahead and try to snipe this fourth base. Or no, actually, he's just going to unburrow and run forward. And, well, that works too because RorO, his roaches are all over here looking like they want to have a fight.
Yeah. And you know what? He's going to get the fourth base.
I don't think he cares because right now Curious is killing off everything that is natural for drones. He's going to be able to go in that main base, and with RorO not losing units, it's hard for him to make enough units to actually even kill this off.
Yeah. This is a great choice here by Curious, doing so much damage. And he knows he's got such a great defensive posture set up at home. There's no way RorO can just attack into him and win the fight. He doesn't have an overwhelming advantage yet. And look at the bank for Curious. He's got a huge one. And, the bank of RorO is not bad, but if you consider when these two fight, the Remax is going to be so important.
Yeah, I feel like this game really showcases why keeping all your units just in one group together is not always the best play because Curious now, look at this, he sits back, waits till he has the more roaches to actually engage on the defense. Other than that, he's doing all the harassment. RorO is, I don't know, I feel like Curious is playing him like a fiddle right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who's actually making moves forward, whereas RorO is kind of just sitting there. Moving across the map and beating your chest with a bunch of roaches is not really going to accomplish anything. He's moved forward like halfway across the map a few times, but he's never really committed to any harassment or any big attacks.
It's more like posturing and drawing his opponent out. I feel like Curious is pretty well outplaying RorO here, especially since we have 10 Infestors that just are popping out.
Yeah, that's going to be so much fungal energy, and also if need be, a ton of infested Terrans to be added for extra DPS.
Well, this makes any attack, any harassment, anything that RorO does pretty dangerous. But when the Infestors run out of energy, if there's a time where he overuses fungal growth and RorO remaxes immediately, that is 20 supplying Infestors that won't help for a battle.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Looks like Aurora's plan here is to go into Hive Tech and I guess add in Broodlords. With the Spire going up, it seems that way.
It's a great choice.
So I mean, that's his way of saying, well, okay, you're ahead of me in some ways and building a different composition, but I'm also gonna get ahead of you with a big leap in tech. I hope the starting is actually just only on my monitor.
Yeah, I see some lag here. I think it must be because
if I were a
I don't
player,
think any
instantly
pro gamer
type
would.
PP like right now if it were in the game. So
If this was a ladder game, I wouldn't even accept it. Like, so I think it's just on our screens.
yeah, I hope so.
Anyways, well, see, now this is the type of thing I was talking about where even harassment is a little bit dangerous because you can lose extra units.
Yeah, he's basically just poking around a little bit. He wants to buy time for that Hive Tech that now Curious is also getting out. He hasn't started Greater Spire, actually, interestingly enough. He's just starting 3-3 with this instead.
Yeah, he might just be getting that Spire for protection for now. Of course, Broodlords definitely can be a great unit to add in as you bank up a whole lot. And Curious doesn't have quite as big a bank. I mean, I'm sorry, RorO doesn't have quite as big a bank as Curious does. So could be kind of dangerous if you were to go into that.
Yeah, it's very expensive in gas.
Yeah, I think you want to transition into Hydras before Broodlords most of the time anyways. Because otherwise, if your opponent just makes Corruptors, you end up losing all the broods.
That's true. Oh, nice fungal here. He isolates a ton of roaches. He's going to kill almost all of those, I would expect.
And look at this. A lot of great fungals going down, just preventing these roaches from getting in there too quickly to do any extra damage.
Yep. Still got to deal with these roaches, though, that are at his third base. And a few of them go into the main base still. But, I mean, Curious has such an incredible bank right now.
Yeah, he does.
Losing
Any damage done does it even matter at this point with this much money?
Exactly. I mean, killing a few drones here is not going to damage his bank that he's already built. And he can just remake those if he wants. He's adding just 4 more in. Because the longer the game goes, the more bank he has. It's better to actually have more armies. So he's like, yeah, I'll let you kill a few of those, I guess.
Yeah.
He's even going to start making spines here to help defend and also to give more army supply.
Well, RorO's doing the best he can with his little harassment groups, and it's actually doing very well. He's gotten down to like less than 40 drones, but as you said, Wolf, I don't think he even cares. He's just like, well, that means I have more army.
That's starting to pay off a little bit.
It's kind of like when Terran goes lots of mules and throws away SCVs, but instead he just goes big bank and lets his drones die.
Yeah.
You got to be careful about that, because if there's a huge difference in that, like in a long game, obviously the economy player should end up winning, but when you're using the same units and your opponent has more, you know, that is a dangerous timing attack.
Yeah, for sure. And if you win one fight overwhelmingly in this matchup, it doesn't matter about the remax time. It's just too late. You know, you don't have enough time to remax. The bank means less. The bank in gas is really what's important too. So losing a few mineral mining drones is not that important as long as he has all of his geysers going.
And right now he has such a bank he can remax and roaches quite quickly. And even some hydras as well. So here we go. It looks like he wants to push in a bit, but this is a great spine crawler setup. This was a really smart move by RorO, because if you're doing this economical damage and he's remaking his units, but they're like roaches and hydras and stuff, the thing about roaches and hydras is they don't gain value over the game, whereas like an infestor does.
Yeah, that's true.
So to have these spines, like, what a smart move by RorO. I'm really loving this game on both sides. They're both playing fantastically.
Yeah, it's like very... This is one of those exciting games. In some ways, it's very slow, right? So it doesn't seem exciting at first. When you think about like how you can really see how these two players differentiate, how they play the same matchup, it's quite fun to watch. This is all about positioning here. The army, of course, much bigger for Curious because he has less drones, 20 army supply more. And
I would say he can't attack here. You can't go through those little funnels when your opponent has 10 infestors. That would be like the worst move ever.
I think we're going to see Broodlords finally here. He's starting to have those Corruptors.
Well, I mean, it has to be Broods or Swarm Hosts eventually. Like,
Ultralists are not good in this matchup, generally speaking. You see them every now and then, like in Wings Live, we saw that like once or twice, but...
Yeah. The thing is, they can do well against Roaches, and Fungal doesn't stop them from moving, which is nice, but...
They get kited.
Yeah, I would say, generally speaking, you don't want to see that. I like what they're doing a lot more, at least. Like, the Broodlords are going to be absolutely monstrous. You can't make Corruptors to kill them because there's Fungal Growth and Hydras.
Yeah.
So... You know, this
game could go for quite some time more.
This is looking a lot like the ZVZ that RorO was so good at and won a GSL title off of, where it's like, okay, now we're going to have the Broodlords. That's the free unit of choice. You have a lot of spines. Everything's going pretty well. A lot of infestors.
Yeah.
Not that different, really.
Yeah, exactly. Way more spines up for RorO. You know, like you were talking about earlier, he's got 16 of those right now.
Well, in a game like this, that's a great choice.
Yeah, they're just going to, in a sense, gain value over time. It's hard to explain why, but like they're just going to be the static units that are going to help in a fight. They don't take up supply.
Well, he's got more drones. So the spine crawlers, that's like non-supply army units basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, I would say growing your crawler count while you're going Infestor Broodlord for sure gains value over time.
Well, here we go. The Broodlord's at a funny angle here. Not a lot of support underneath them, but now they do, and it's going to be impossible to fight this army, and Curious is going to have to go back and start making some Corruptors of his own to deal with this.
You know, what a hard choice it is on doing that. Like, he's making 15 Corruptors. Now, does he use the Corruptors as Corruptors, or is he going to go Broods?
It's a tough choice, and what RorO knows right now, too, is that he must be reacting to this. He knows this is the first time he's seen the Broodlords, so he might actually hit this timing before the Broodlords are ready, and he just has too much.
Definitely could make a huge difference. Really good fungal growth there, taking out a couple infestors that likely had a lot of energy on him.
Yeah, he's trying to buy as much time as possible here as well, because he knows his Broodlords are getting closer and closer to his base, and he doesn't have the answer yet. The Corruptor's just now popping out. And Hydra's counts become really important here as well, because the anti-air that they provide.
Well, here we go. Those Corruptors going up, taking out these Broodlords very, very quickly. The Hydra's way out of position. Get fungal growth as well. Some good control here by Curious.
Yeah, Curious actually looks like he may just take this fight here. At least he's definitely won air control, but the ground army that's missing as a result kind of becomes a problem here. And it looks like RorO is actually who's going to push through. That one Broodlord is back there doing damage, and the Fungals are going to isolate these Corruptors.
Yeah, Corruptors are kind of a desperation move, as we were talking about before. Well, you know, the Hydra plus Infestor composition is going to kill off Corruptors very, very quickly.
A lot of reinforcements coming out from Curious. His bank is depleted as a result, and he actually will hold this off. I feel due to almost wholly his bank. You know, That's why
For
he
sure.
survives here. Without that bank, he would not have been able to make these units. But now the bank is gone.
The bank is gone. He's on 38 drones. That is not a high drone count. It's going to be hard for him to rebuild that bank, and the supply, once again, goes to RorO here.
Yeah.
So
And
even though, he held it, does it matter?
it doesn't look like it. GG. RorO takes the 2-0 here. Bit of a
Yes.
surprising result. He played much better than he did in the first series.
For sure he did. Frost is definitely going to be a map that better fits RorO's style. He played a fantastic game there. The fact that it went that way into the compositions, or rather the composition that he is most comfortable with, that he has won a GSL title off of,
Yeah.
that's really fortuitous for him.
That was really nicely done. I feel like in this game he played his style more so than he did in the series against Life. It was like he didn't want to play his straight-up style against Life, and it went poorly for him. But in this one he was like, all right, I'm just going to sit back, play what I'm really good at, and it worked for him.
It certainly did, but can he beat Life next?
Yeah, he has to play him here, and it's going to be a tough series. I mean, he already lost to him once. I wonder if he's going to try to do aggression again. I don't think so. I think he'd probably rather just, at least in game one, try to play a similar style.
I think so. I think that's going to be the best choice for him rather than a couple all-ins. So I guess we'll see. We're going to go ahead, jump to a quick commercial break, and then we'll see who is the second player to get out of